At Jackson Water, we are in the game and locked in on our goals. Every day, our dedicated teams are hard at work, ensuring that clean, reliable water flows to every home and business in Jackson. We are not just fixing pipes. We're investing in a brighter, more resilient future for our city. Jackson Water, water for all the time.
And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for WLBT Plus. My name is Kara Shirley. I'm your digital news desk host, and I am joined by Senator John HORHN, who has his name in the hat for Mayor of Jackson. How are you doing today? So let me make sure I got your sound up good. Pull that microphone a little closer to your mouth if you don't mind. There we go.
All right.
So you've been in senator here in the state of Mississippi since 1993, right?
That's correct.
And you've run for mayor before, doing it again this year. Tell us a little bit before we jump into the whole mayor race thing. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have a lifelong love affair with Mississippi. I've been here all my life, except when I was away at school. I've had mostly jobs in the public sector, although I've worked in the private sector. I've worked in the creative economy a good bit. Economic development is my background. Of late, I've been doing a lot of work intensely on affordable housing here in the Jackson area.
And so tell me again, this is your fourth run as mayor?
Yeah, I'm glutton for punishment, I guess, But, as I was saying to you earlier, that when my siblings and I were growing up, if we complained to our dad about something, he would always say, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, look, I just did something. We told you. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, that's not good enough. You have to do something about this. And so I'm trying to do something about Jackson. I love the city. I love what it can be. I love what it used to be. And I'm just interested in having this place return to the vibrant, successful city that it once was.
And that was actually going to be one of my first questions for you was, why do you want to be mayor? But it seemed like you just told us right there.
Well, I looked at a few months ago, looked at the field of candidates, and I really didn't see anyone that I thought could do the job. And that's no reflection on them, but this is not a time for on-the-job training. We have to get it right this time in Jackson. And we've got 45 years of experience, 32 years of which have been serving in the state Senate. We know how to get this job done. We've run state agencies. We've managed people in the past. We know how to gather resources and attract resources. And so we think that we offer the best choice and the best chance that Jackson can turn itself around.
Well, as you find yourself out there campaigning and talking to people, what are you seeing as some of the biggest problems, maybe like the top three, the biggest problems that voters are bringing to your attention?
Yeah, well, I'll say this, that I wasn't going to run. And what happened is that everywhere I would go, people would be encouraging me. For the last 2 years, they've been encouraging me to get back in this thing and take another shot at it. I think you can get it this time, that sort of thing. And the issues are no surprise to anyone: crime, infrastructure, education system, opportunities for job and workforce training. Those are probably the top three.
Top three. So crime, infrastructure, and jobs are what you're hearing the most.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, how do you plan then on involving your constituents in your decision-making process if you were to get elected as mayor?
Well, the very first thing we have to do once we're elected is we have to put a strategic plan together. The old saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Jackson has not had a strategic plan in a quarter of a century. And I think part of why the council and mayor are at odds often with one another is that they're distracted because we're not following any sort of plan. We're flying by the seat of our pants. And so any distraction will get in the way of progress. And so we've got to put a strategic plan together that involves every aspect, every corner of Jackson, from Ward 6 to Ward 1 to Ward 7 to Ward 3 to Ward 2 to Ward 4. we've got to get our communities engaged in this process and put a strategic plan together so that Shady Oaks understands how it fits into the plan. South Jackson understands how it fits into the plan. East Jackson, Northeast Jackson understands how it fits in. And then we set our priorities and then work the plan. That's the first thing that we've got to do. We have to get a handle on our resources. What kind of money do we really have coming in? I hear horror stories about money that Jackson has that it's not using. That's sitting in an account somewhere. And then if we have a budgeting process that is clear and understandable, because I don't understand the budgeting process. I've looked at the city budget, can't make heads or tails of it. So we got to get the budget straight. And the third thing we've got to do, and this is all kind of simultaneous, the third thing is that we have got to start cleaning this place up. Jackson looks absolutely horrible. It's not in any position where it's ready for business. If we're going to attract people back to Jackson, if we're going to stem the brain drain that we're experiencing, the outmigration that even the Black middle class is taking right now, we've got to clean up our city, make it more presentable, get rid of the litter, get rid of the illegal dumping, get rid of the blight, and put ourselves in a position where we can face opportunity.
Well, how would you then convince residents to not move out to the suburbs, or to have people stay here in Jackson, or even move here to Jackson?
Well, people in Jackson are tired. They're tired of all the dysfunction that they see. They're tired of the crime, the bad streets. They're tired of water that may not be as reliable as it needs to be. But they haven't given up on Jackson. A lot of folks still haven't. They're like me. Run till you win. Run till you get in there. Keep at it. Keep fighting for Jackson. And a lot of folks are in that same position. I've run into so many people who, in their own walks of life, they're working with young girls to help teach them better skills so they can be successful later in life. I see folks doing training programs. They're taking it upon themselves to do what they can in their little corner of the world to try to fight for Jackson. And that's what we're going to do. We've got to fight for Jackson.
Well, let's talk about crime here in the capital city. What are your thoughts on the crime, and how do you see Jackson combating that better going forward? I mean, admittedly, and even looking at the numbers, Chief Joseph Wade of Jackson Police Department, the crime numbers have gone down. Things are getting better, even if it's marginally, but how can we make it even better than it already has been?
Yeah, well, I would agree with you that Joe Wade is doing a commendable job. He also is working very well with Capitol Police and with the Sheriff's Department. And those three law enforcement agencies have done a great job of getting the numbers going in the right direction, going down on murders and homicides, car burglaries, home invasions. All the numbers are going in the right direction. We just need them to go a little faster and a little further down. There's a need for additional resources with JPD. They need to man up and get to that 265 member sworn officer number that they need to get to. I think they're about 25 shy of that right now. Continue to work with the Sheriff's Department, continue to work with Capitol Police as long as we have it there. But we've also got to go after resources. There are a number of federal programs that we're not making application for that could help ease the crime fighting burden here in Jackson, getting technology, even paying for manpower. So we intend to very aggressively go after federal and state resources for crime fighting in Jackson.
And let's talk about the roads here in Jackson. That's something that a lot of people complain about a lot, is our roads here. They're in bad shape, very bad shape. What can we do to fix that?
Well, I was the author of the 1 cent sales tax, which is the main instrument by which we're raising money to fight crime in Jackson and to deal with the infrastructure in Jackson, especially the infrastructure. It generates about $16 million a year. It's not enough, but it's better than nothing. And one option is that we could double the 1 cent sales tax and generate $32 million a year, and that might help. There also is such a thing as green bonding, where sustainable, renewable means of manufacturing asphalt, for example, or how you lay it down, or some other means in the street paving process that can be used that saves energy would qualify for green bonding. And folks like Bank of America are looking for projects where they can have these tax credits sold for development, where the corporations who buy the tax credits, who have a tax liability, can help pay for this new technology that we would put down in the way of repaving our streets. So that's another way. And then there is the federal government and the state government. Again, we're leaving money on the table at the federal level. The Department of Transportation has some programs that we can access. The state of Mississippi has programs that we can access. It's just that the relationship between the state and the city has been so fractured these last few years that no one's getting to the talking about, okay, how we get these resources. They're too busy pointing the finger at one another. We can change that. We can bring a better climate for collaboration at the local, federal, and state level that we're not seeing right now with this current administration.
And speaking of federal level, I mean, the water supply here in Jackson is now being run by the federal government. Do you have a plan to be able for Jackson to take that back over and do it successfully?
Well, I like what is happening with Jackson Water right now. I would prefer that there be the city having self-determination on the running of its own systems. I don't know how we're going to get there right now, because the federal judge is going to have, I think, the final say over what happens as far as the future governance of Jackson's concerned. So that horse is already out of the barn. Whatever Judge Wingate chooses to do, and then there's always the state. And we've been fighting the state's attempt to take over the water system and create a regional water system these last few years. And in fact, last year I called a point of order when there was an attempt to amend the bill that would stick the regional water system into another bill. And the bill they were trying to amend, it was not germane to the question of for that amendment to really fit in. And the point of order was upheld, and we defeated that effort to create that regional water system. But at some point, we've got to figure out what is in the best interest of our citizens. We don't want an independent non-Jackson authority raising rates on Jackson citizens without the citizens having some input and having some accountability to them as part of how that system is run.
Well, let's talk now about downtown Jackson and the state that it's in. I mean, with the crime that we have here, the crumbling roads, the crumbling infrastructure in Jackson, do you think that downtown Jackson can be revitalized? And how could we do that?
Yeah, well, so we have got to stem the brain drain. And too many of our young men and women within a year or two of their graduation are leaving this state, not just Jackson, but they're leaving all parts of Mississippi, going to Dallas, to Nashville, to Austin, to Houston, to Atlanta. And that talent goes with them. And so we think that putting things together that young people are more interested in enjoying. There's got to be some quality of life improvements that we do, especially downtown. I think that entertainment districts have a place in downtown Jackson. So we will look to finally get Ferris Street developed as an entertainment district. The Commerce Street area would be another great entertainment district area, and also around Cathead Vodka. That's a good opportunity for entertainment districts. But we've got to also create other amenities, recreational, cultural amenities. The Folklife Festival that we have coming can do so much to help reinvigorate the cultural climate here. But we've got to do a better job of also selling what we already have, because there are a lot of things you can do in Jackson, but you have to dig a little bit for them. Mm-hmm. But this is not a barren land. Now, when you look at the rich musical culture that we have here. Jackson used to be a great music city. We're going to return to that music city and the support of our music community in this administration.
Are there any other cities out there that you can look to that have maybe done this successfully, taken a what some would call a failing city to a successful one? Could recreate here, or that you could even look up to?
Well, Oklahoma City comes to mind. They were really in the doldrums they were about to lose a big military installation. They had the Oklahoma bombing, and people were pretty demoralized. And the mayor of that city went to the people, neighborhood by neighborhood, homeowners association by homeowners association, trying to sell them on making a commitment for certain projects to go in Jackson that the people would agree to do an additional assessment for, and they got it done. And it started to reinvigorate that city. That's a good example. I think that Little Rock, Arkansas is another good example. It's these cities that are mid-sized cities. Birmingham has turned the corner. Birmingham at one time was in bankruptcy, and now they have a very vibrant downtown. They have a great sports and healthcare complex initiative going over there. They've turned Birmingham around, and I believe that we truly can turn Jackson around. I hear from developers all the time that would like to come into Jackson, but they can't under the current situation that they find. If there's better leadership, and Jackson has resources. Jackson has more resources than we realize. But the question is our leadership. How are we utilizing the resources that we do have? That's the question.
How can Jacksonians trust you in knowing that some of the things that our current administration has allegedly fallen to, how can they trust that you are not going to go down that same path?
Well, I look at my 32 years of record in office. I've not had any situations where my honesty has been questioned or my integrity has been questioned. I think that we have a great relationship that we already have with local leaders, with state leaders, and leaders at the federal level. And what we're going to do is to bring that integrity and honesty to our administration, and with a heavy emphasis on customer service and on pleasing and getting done what the citizens want to have done most. And we believe that our reputation already speaks for itself in terms of the integrity and honesty that we bring to the table.
And well, some people may say to you, though, you've been in Senate for 30 years. That's a higher office, I guess, maybe in the state of Mississippi. Do you not think you could do more for Jackson through that?
I've done hundreds of millions of dollars for Jackson in my position at the Senate with the help of my colleagues. No one person can do this thing alone in the legislature. It doesn't work like that in the legislature. But the JSU Metro Parkway, it was the very first project that I was able to get funded. We got $20 million from the legislature to build the parkway that leads from downtown to Jackson State. We started out with the Telecom Center. That was a $17.5 million project. We were able to flip it into an $85 million project in the Jackson Convention Center. Got the 1 cent sales tax approved. The project I'm proudest of is the Civil Rights Museum. I was the original author of the legislation to create a Civil Rights Museum in Mississippi and here in Jackson. And $93 million later, it is the only state-supported Civil Rights Museum in the country. So we have a demonstrated track record of being able to get resources and to do with those resources what needs to be done, to say what you're going to do and then do what you said you were going to do. And our entire professional career has been based around those kinds of actions. We get results, and we get positive results.
Well, your slogan, your campaign slogan is Jackson is ready. Tell us what Jackson is ready for. I know we've talked about a lot already, but what is Jackson ready for?
Well, Jackson is ready for new and better leadership. The people are just crying for this dysfunction to end in our city. So they're ready for new and better leadership. They're ready for better roads. They're ready for less crime. They're ready for better education. They're ready for a better quality of life, more cultural expressions and opportunities. Jackson is ready for John Horhn. And I believe that our leadership is what this city needs if we're going to pull ourselves out of this mud that we found ourselves stuck in, and to be able to turn the corner, to improve our relationships with the county, with the state, with the federal government, and to demonstrate that we know how to get these resources, especially in terms of the business community. We have a strong relationship with the business community, and the business community wants to come back into Jackson. But again, there's got to be better leadership.
What would you want to say then to those who are out there who may be considering voting for you before we jump off of here today? What is a final takeaway for them?
Well, we're going to put a team together. No one individual can do this alone, but having a stellar team that are experts and knowledgeable in the field of endeavor that they're given the assignment to run is key. You've got to have a good team. You got to have folks with a can-do attitude who know what they're doing and who can get results and be accountable to the citizens. Right now, there's a lack of accountability from stem to stern in Jackson. The city council and mayor are not accountable to anybody, it seems, and they're not being accountable to the voters. When you go into some of the city departments, the workers are so demoralized that they're not really doing their jobs as well as they could be. They need better tools and resources, and they need more direction in terms of you're going to get a reward and be recognized with good behavior and good customer service. And so we've got to return that to the city. Folks want to be respected. When they come in, they don't want the phone to just keep ringing and nobody answers. They don't want folks that they approach when they're coming to get some sort of a service done, who act like they're doing you a favor by even acknowledging you. So it can be done, but we have got to have our city refocus itself and reinvent itself.
And you think you are the man to make that happen?
I know I'm the man.
You know you're the man.
I know I'm the man. Yes.
I like that answer. I like that. I know they have that confidence. I love it. Well, let's tell the people how they can get in touch with your campaign. If they want a yard sign, if they want to volunteer to help with your campaign, how can they get in touch with you guys?
They can go to www.HORHN for Mayor 2025. That's HORHN, HORHN for Mayor 2025.com. And you can find out more about our programs and our plans. You can find out more about the candidate. You can volunteer, and you can also donate.
Awesome. Well, that is our interview then with Senator John Horhn, coming in, long time in politics here in Mississippi, and you're hoping to continue that by at least 4 more years, right?
At least.
Yes. Well, we will be back tomorrow for WLBT Plus at 1 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow for WLBT Plus. My brain is getting sidetracked here. But we'll be back, and I hope that you join us. Then we're going to have another mayoral candidate in for the city of Jackson tomorrow at 1. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming to see us today. And I'll say this to all of the candidates that we're going to interview. Good luck.
Well, thank you, Kara. We believe Jackson is ready.
We believe Jackson is ready. Well, guys, we will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.